His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Yeah. Grantharaj, Srimad Bhagavatam. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 O my Lord Shri Krishna, Son of Vasudeva, of all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. What was that, confirmation or what's going on? Okay, reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, translation and commentary by Srila Prabhupada, Canto 4, Chapter 31. We're going to finish the canto. Hey. We're going to do 29, 30, 31. Tomorrow, Vero is going to start a brand new canto, Canto 5. And I didn't really want to give class today because I was too busy getting ready to leave. But with a little help from my friends, I found some nectar and also on here. So, as I said, the kirtan, I'm going to muddle through it. Okay, so we're going to chant text 29. Together? Vidura uvacha.
Vidura Uvacha.
Soyamadya mahayogin.
Soyamaya Mahayogin.
Bhavata karunatmana.
Bhavata Karunatmana.
Darshitas tamasaparo.
Darshitas tamasaparo.
Yatra kinchana goharihi.
Yatra kinchana hari.
Vidura uvacha.
Vidura Uvacha.
Soyam madhya mahayogin.
Soyamadya Mahayogin.
Bhavata karunatmana.
Bhavata Karunatmana.
Darshitas tamasaparo.
Darshitas tamasaparo.
Yatra kinchana goharihi.
Yatra kinchana hari.
Vidura uvacha.
Vidura Uvacha.
Soyam madhya mahayogin.
Soyamadya Mahayogin.
Bhavata Karunatmana Darshitas Tamasaparo Yatra Kinchana Go Harihi
Vidura Uvacha
Vidura Uvacha
Soyam Adya Mahayogin Bhavata Karunatmana Darshitas Tamasaparo Yatra Kinchana Gohari Vidura Uvacha Soyam Adya Mahayogin Bhavata Karunatmana Darshitas Tamasaparo Yatra Kinchana Gohari
Vidurovacha Soyamadya Mahayogin Bhavata Karunatmana Darshitas Tamasaparo Yatra Kinchana Gohari
Vidurovacha Soyamadya Mahayogin Bhavata Karunatmana Darshitas Tamasaparo Yatra Kinchana Gohari Vidurovacha Soyamadya Mahayogin Bhavata Karunatmana Darshitas
Tamasaparo Yatra Kinchana Gohari. Anyone else? Word for word. Vidura Uvacha. Vidura said. Saha. That. Ayam. This. Adya. Today. Mahayogin. O great mystic. Bhavata. By you. Karuna Atmana. Most merciful. Darshitaha. I have been shown. Tamasaha. Of the darkness. Taraha. The other side. Yatra. Where? Akinchanagaha. Approachable by the materially free. Harihi. The Supreme Personality of Godhead. Translation, Sri Vidura said, O great mystic. Who is he speaking to? Maitreya, his spiritual master. O great mystic, O greatest of all devotees, by your causeless mercy I have been shown the path of liberation from this world of darkness. By following this path, a person liberated from the material world can return home, back to Godhead. Please repeat. Sri Vidura said, O great mystic, O greatest of all devotees, by your causeless mercy, I have been shown the path of liberation from this world of darkness. By following this path, a person liberated from the material world can return home back to Godhead. Prabhupada's purport. This material world is called tamaha, dark, and the spiritual world is called light. The Vedas enjoin that everyone should try to get out of the darkness and go to the kingdom of light. Who knows the Sanskrit? Tamasima, Jyotirgama. That's the translation is on the cover of every BTG. That was part of Prabhupada's logo. Godhead is light, darkness is nations. Wherever there is darkness, wherever there is Godhead, there is no nations.
That's a verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Okay.
Krishna Surya Sam Maya
Andhakar,
Krishna
Maya Adhikar. Andhakar, yeah. All right. Information of that kingdom of light can be attained through the mercy of a self-realized soul. One also has to get rid of all material desires, by the way. Right? One also has to get rid of all material desires. As soon as one frees himself from material desires and associates with a liberated person, the path back home, back to Godhead is clear. Okay, so go to 30. Is there? Yeah. First, just go to 30. I'm just going to read the English translation and purport. We're going to do the same for 31, so you may as well stay there. Okay. So text 30, translation, Shukadeva Goswami continues. So now we go from Vidura addressing Maitreya to, and we get the discourse back to the original discourse, which is Shukadeva. That's the whole point of the Bhagavatam. Maharaj Parikshit's been cursed to die in 7 days. He meets his spiritual master, Shukadeva. So the whole Bhagavatam is discourse inside of discourse inside of discourse. But it's all Krishna. Translation, Shukadeva Goswami continued, Vidura thus offered obeisances unto the great sage Maitreya, and, taking his permission, started for the city of Hastinapur, which is today called New Delhi. Hasti. Prabhupada would joke, you hear him on the recordings. They called it Hastinapur. Hasti means what? Elephant. So now it's become, Prabhupada says, motor car poor. Not city of elephants, city of... And now it's so bad, like especially this time of year, you can hardly breathe in Delhi. The winter. The pollution is worse than Beijing, Mexico City, it's the worst in the world. Okay, again, Shukadeva Goswami continued, Vidura thus offered obeisances under the great sage Maitreya, and taking his permission, started for the city of Hastinapur to see his own kinsman, although he had no material desires. So Prabhupada focuses on that in his little purport. When a saintly person wants to see his kinsman, he has no material desire to see them. He's not going home to fall into Maya with them, if they're not devotees. He simply wants to give them some instructions so that they can benefit. Vidura belonged to the royal family of the Kauravas, and although he knew that all the family members were destroyed at the battle of Kurukshetra, he nonetheless wanted to see his elder brother Dhritarashtra, to see if he could deliver Dhritarashtra from the clutches of Maya. That was the whole reason he went. And he did it. When a great saintly person like Vidura sees his relatives, he desires only to deliver them from the clutches of Maya. Vidura thus offered his respectful obeisances to his spiritual master and departed for the city of Hastinapur, the kingdom of the Kauravas. And then we're going to do 31. So, of course, that's a time and place thing. Vidura was always trying to get his brother to renounce, but now finally, when after the Kurukshetra war had happened and everybody, all his 100 sons had been killed, and he's living like a dog at the home of the Pandavas, accepting the scraps of food from Bhima, especially, he was always trying to kill Bhima, because Bhima was the most powerful one. So he just let him have it. He wasn't doing he wasn't beating around the bush. As we might go home and like when I talked to my brothers over, talked to Kenny, the one next down to me was most favorable. I said, Kenny, you coming out for a spring training game? It's the Cactus League, And I live in Arizona, and so, yeah, okay, yeah, we're thinking of it, maybe me and Tony, I don't know if the others are going to come, but, And so they come, and the most Krishna conscious thing we do is what? We eat at Govinda's. That's what we do before we go to the ball game over at Camelback Stadium. But that's okay. They're taking Krishna Prasad, and they like it. And they see that I don't drink beer with them at the ballpark. And that I'm doing okay. I'm approaching, I'm in my 80th year now. And hey, it must be something to this. Bro looks pretty good. Big bro looks pretty good. Maybe we should check this out. So yeah, it depends on the situation. All right, so text 31. Okay, so this is so Shukadev closing it out with this, and he gives a Shruti fall. This is what happens if you hear this. O king, those who hear these topics about kings who are completely surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead obtained without difficulty a long life, wealth, good reputation, good fortune, and ultimately the opportunity to return home back to Godhead. A little ironic, you might think, because how old is Parikshit when he's hearing this? He's about 27 years old. He's your age. And he could have counteracted the curse. He's a supreme mystic, as we just heard Vidura said about Maitreya. He could have countered, but he said, oh no, okay, he was a saintly king. He was a Rajarshi.
Where does it say his age? I never read that.
Yeah, I think it's in the Bhagavatam, but I have to, if you have the database, you just put in string search 27 and it'll probably come up. Yeah, 27. I think that's in a purport. I mean, so where did I get that? Anyway, he was young. At the very least, you can hear that. But 27, 6 and 1. So he's telling Parikshit, who's a young man, if you hear this, and he just narrated he narrated 12 cantos, in a week. And here's the 4th canto. So maybe he's on day 3 or something. So if you hear this, you're gonna have a long life. But long enough. How old was Jesus when he passed? 33. How old was Lord Chaitanya? 48. How old was Shankaracharya? 24. I'm not sure. I thought he was 30. Anyway, whatever he was. But it's however long you need to do your mission, or to be fully Krishna conscious. Just like I was telling somebody the other day, okay, I'm in my 80th year, but I need more time because I ain't done material desires. So let's keep hearing and hearing and hearing. So Krishna's let me do that. Okay, now I brought a little help from my friends Urijan Prabhu's study guide, the first 4 cantos. I'm just going to close this because we're done with this. The next time you see a Bhagavatam here, it's going to be 5th canto. So this is highly recommended, although you can only get them in India. Maybe you can get them in Amazon, I don't know. If you're really into study guides, rarely I give a class without at least looking at Borijan is written. So when Borijan, and it's very nice the way he does it. You catch the flow. And so here's what Borijan has to say about the last, about the verses that we're doing now. The Bhagavatam's fourth canto concludes by returning to Shukadev Goswami's discussion with Maharaj Parikshit. Shukadev has completed his description of Uttanapad's descendants, a topic that has taken the entirety of the fourth canto. That's fourth canto is all about the descendants of Uttanapad. In the fifth canto, Shukadev will narrate the activities of Priyavrata, that's the other son of Uttanapad, or of Swayambhuva. Yeah, other son of Swayambhuva. Swayambhuva's Manu's elder son. Although Priyavrata became a renunciant after hearing Narada's instructions, he later married and ruled the earth. So that's just like the Prachetas. They heard Lord Shiva, they heard Narada, and they married that daughter of the trees. And then they ruled. Same thing. Let's see. He later married Priyavrata and ruled the earth. Then he divided his property among his sons and returned to the spiritual world. Shukadev Goswami says, hearing about Uttanapad's descendants from Maitreya Muni, Vidura was overwhelmed with ecstasy. So that we just heard that. He's just ecstatic hearing from his Guru Maharaj. With tears in his eyes, he fell down at the lotus feet of his spiritual master. He fixed the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his heart, offered his obeisances, and taking permission from Maitreya Muni, departed for Hastinapur, his home and the Pandavas' capital. And what did he do that for? Just to deliver Dhritarashtra. Srila Prabhupada explains something we have seen and heard again and again. This is Borijan. We have heard again and again in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Our devotion increases when we hear from and associate with pure devotees, and that's what you heard yesterday from Parameshwar Prabhu. In his purport to text 28, Prabhu did 27 and 28, Prabhupada wrote, this is a quote, this is a sign of associating with great devotees. A devotee takes instructions from a liberated soul and is thus overwhelmed by ecstasy from transcendental pleasure. As stated by Prahlad Maharaj, and then Prabhupada quoted that famous verse, Naisham Vatistha Vadurukramangrim Sprishatyanartha Pagamo Yadartaha Ahiyasam Padarajo Vishekam Nishkinchanang Navanityavat. Yeah, and then the gist is, one cannot become a perfect devotee of the Lord without having touched the lotus feet of a great devotee. And that's from Prahlad Maharaj. Now, in his purport, Prabhupada's purport to text 30, which we read, Srila Prabhupada explains Vidura's selfless motive for returning to Hastinapur. And so I'm just going to read it. Quote, although we just heard it. When a saintly person wants to see his kinsmen, he has no material desire to see them. He simply wants to give them some instructions so that they can benefit. Vidura belonged to the royal family of the Kauravas. And although he knew that all the family members were destroyed at the Battle of Kurukshetra, he nonetheless wanted to see his elder brother, Dhritarashtra, to see if he could deliver Dhritarashtra from the clutches of Maya. What are some of the things he said? Your teeth are falling out. You're choking on your eyes are failing. No, he couldn't see, that's right. That was the whole reason he couldn't be the king. And he always resented that. He didn't accept his fate. He didn't humbly accept the hand he was dealt. And therefore he thought he should have been the king. And if he can't be the king, at least my wicked son, even Gandhari didn't want. Didn't like Duryodhana. But it was this envy, this resentment that Dhritarashtra had. It was the whole tragic flaw this king that led to the Kurukshetra war. All right. When a great saintly person like Vidura sees his relatives, he desires only to deliver them from the clutches of Maya. Vidura thus offered his respectful obeisances to his spiritual master. So he was this is also very instructive, because he was in ecstasy. But he didn't just, sit around and languish in the ecstasy. He departed for the city of Hastinapur, the kingdom of the Kauravas, because just as he had been enlightened by Maitreya, he wanted to enlighten Dhritarashtra. And I just heard on a very nice, if you have a chance, there's a new series by Siddhanta Prabhu, the memory series person. He's made a new series called Lessons from Letters. Have you heard of this? Pretty new. And the first 6 videos, they're with Jadharani, Satsarup, Hridayananda, Ramaswar, and I don't know, I get somebody else, one in there somewhere. Anyway, the reason he picked them is because they got a lot of letters from Prabhupada. So when Hridayananda Maharaj, they're discussing his letters. So when Prabhupada, he was in Mayapur, and Prabhupada, somebody came to his room. Let's see, I forget who was the servant. Anyway, he said, Prabhupada wants to see you. So Hridayananda goes, in those days, because we were young, when you heard that Prabhupada wants to see you, you ran to his room. So I ran as fast as I could. Yes, Srila Prabhupada? So Prabhupada had just had a conversation with some devotees in Latin America. I think it was Pantra Dravida. Anyway, that he, Hridayananda, should be the GBC of Latin America. Yeah. So Hridayananda Maharaj said, if you think that's if you want that, Prabhupada, I will do it. And then, so Prabhupada said, so you must go there right now. You mean right now? So he said, okay. So, because he said, as soon as Prabhupada, I was already a sannyasi, I was already traveling and preaching, but now he had given me a GBC assignment. And immediately he had upped the game. He had upped the ante, So he wanted me to go there right now, and it was more expected of him, more demands put upon him. So I said, okay, Srila Prabhupada. So he did. He just went to his room and he got all his belongings, and somehow he booked a flight or whatever, and he went right to. I'm not sure anymore. He might have gone to Caracas. You don't want to go there today, but. Because of what's going on. So anyway, yeah. So let's see. All right. So then Burijan says, what happened when Vidura returned to see Dhritarashtra has already been described in the 13th chapter of Canto 1. Yeah, that's where it all happens. By Vidura's strong, cutting words, old Dhritarashtra, who was languishing in the palace, was pulled out of his home and guided to use the few remaining days of his life for spiritual elevation. And Gandhari followed him. Yeah. This inspiration to return to Hastinapur and help Dhritarashtra came to Vidura, of course, from Krishna. But he was also inspired after having heard Maitreya's narration of one king after another retiring to the forest to make spiritual advancement at the end of his life. That's what the whole 4th canto is. Think about this. Burijan says it. In Canto 4, a number of prominent kings followed this path of renunciation. So who was the first king we heard about who did this? Dhruva. right? And he wanted a kingdom greater than, but then he was convinced by Narada Muni. As soon as he saw the Lord, Swamin Pita Tosmi Varamniyach, I was looking for like broken pieces of glass. I've seen in you a rare gem. I don't want this, but the Lord insisted that he take it. You would wanted this, now you're going to rule, but don't worry, you won't be entangled, and you'll go back to Godhead. And then after Dhruva, who was?
Anga.
Well, yeah. Anga, the churning of, wait a minute, I'm getting confused now.
Anga is the father of Prithu.
The father of Prithu. And also of the Nishida, right?
No.
So that was Vena.
The Vena is the father of Vishnu.
Yeah, that's
I'm
right.
sorry, Anga is the father of Vena.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay, let's keep it straight, yeah. And then Prithu was the other, yeah. Okay, yeah, so Prithu, he didn't mention Anga because I guess it was,
It's minor, but.
yeah, very brief, yeah, instrumental. And then after Prithu, who was inspired? Prachini Barhi. Finally, after so many chapters, Narada finally reached him. And finally, who gave up their kingdom? And the Prachetas, after ruling. Okay, thus after hearing these narrations, Vidura wanted to offer the same opportunity to Dhritarashtra. So he just heard all this from Maitreya. So this is the compassion of the Vaishnava. Shukadev Goswami ends Canto 4 by blessing all those who have heard the instructions the fourth canto contains. Such hearers will attain, we just read it, without difficulty, a long life, wealth, good reputation, good fortune, and ultimately the opportunity to return home back to Godhead. Very reminiscent of 828 Gita. Vedeshu Jageshu Tapasya Chaiva Daneshu Yat Punya Palang Pritishtam Bhatiti Tat Sarvabhidam Viditva Yogi Purangstana Mupaiti Chajam. A person who accepts the path, what is it? Vedeshu Jageshu. What is that? Devotional service, not bereft the results derived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, giving charity, and pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. And then Yogi Parangstana Mupaiti Chat, and then at the end he reaches the supreme abode. So we're not the loser for taking up Krishna consciousness. We get it all in Krishna's way, in Krishna's time, and nothing that doesn't want to let us do things that are foolish. So he fulfills our desires his way, and then we go back to Godhead. Now, all right, what is that?
I said that can be a lot of different things. I was thinking about Krishna being tricky.
Krishna's way?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, Krishna knows. He knows how to do it, you know. We don't, and we're going to do it. We're going to get burned. Now, where this is all going is this reminded me when being inspired by one's Guru Maharaj, as Vidura was inspired by Maitreya. It reminded me of when Prabhupada, this is extraordinary, in 1968, when the movement was very small, just a few hundred devotees, really. There's a recording of Prabhupada in Seattle. And the occasion it's the disappearance day lecture of Prabhupada's sannyas guru. Anybody know who gave Prabhupada sannyas?
His name is Keshav.
Yes, Keshav. Well, Keshav is good. You're talking about Lord Chaitanya's. But Prabhupada's sannyas guru is Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. Keshav Ji Gaudiya Mat. Still there in Mathura. So Prabhupada has just gotten word that his sannyas guru has passed away. And if you hear I'm just going to read the transcript, but if you hear the audio, Prabhupada is so emotional about the whole thing. And you'll see why as he speaks. So, this is October 21st, 1968 in Seattle. And then Prabhupada says, I took this sannyas order. Oop. Yeah. I took this sannyas order. And this is a good example of how Prabhupada's spoken word nicely complements the written word. To get the full Prabhupada, it's really good to hear his spoken word. I took this sannyas order. One has to accept the renounced order from another person who is in the renounced order. So I never thought that I shall accept the renounced order of life. And this is one of those times where Prabhupada's talking about how he had dreams from his Guru Maharaj. In my family life, when I was in the midst of my wife and children, sometimes I was dreaming, my spiritual master, that he's calling me, and I was following him. When my dream was over, I was thinking, I was a little horrified. Oh, Guru Maharaj wants me to become a sannyasi? How can I accept sannyas? At that time, I was feeling, oops, turn the phone off, please. Thank you. When my dream was over, I was thinking, I was a little horrified. Oh, Guru Maharaj wants me to become sannyasi. How can I accept sannyas? Because he had godbrothers, friends who were sannyasis, and he saw how austerely they were living, like Sridhar Maharaj and Bhakti Saranga Maharaj, because they were coming to him in Calcutta in the 30s and 40s to have some katha, and they were very austere. So Prabhupada thought, I could never live like them. Although what he ended up doing was more austere than anyone. At that time, I was feeling not very satisfaction that I have to give up my family and have to become a mendicant, even though the family was pretty hellish by then. At that time, it was a horrible feeling. Sometimes I was thinking, no, I cannot take sannyas. But again, I saw the dream, the same dream. And then in brackets, the editor says, Prabhupada begins to cry, choked voice. Yeah, as Prabhupada is saying, please, he's imitating his Guru Maharaj, please come out. Take sannyas, please come out. Prabhupada is like crying. So in this way, I was fortunate. My Guru Maharaj, and here's where this phrase, pulled me out, pulled me out. Ooh. Prabhupada said that. He pulled me out. That's how I word searched this. I remember that. Pulled me out, and it went right to that. One hit. This talk. Pulled me out from this material life. Now listen to this. I have not lost anything. He was so kind upon me. I was worried. I was afraid to take sannyas. I have not lost anything. He was so kind upon me. I have gained. I left 3 children. Of course, he had 5, but one died, and then one just, I think he became a rabid communist. Mathura Mohan. I left 3 children. I have got now 300 children. It was a few hundred devotees, disciples at that point in 68. So I am not loser. This is material conception. We think that we shall be loser by accepting Krishna. We think surrender means he wins, I lose. No, it's Maya. We shall not be loser by accepting Krishna. Nobody is loser. I say from my practical experience. I was thinking that, how can I accept this renounced order of life? I cannot accept so much trouble. So, but I retired from my family life. And it was actually Keshav Maharaj who convinced him to leave Jhansi and come with him in the 50s to Keshavji Gaudiya Math and help him. But this is later now. This is in the early 60s. Oh no, wait a minute. Okay, so this is, I was sitting alone in Vrindavan. Okay, no, this is, I shouldn't try to correct Prabhupada here. This was in the late 50s. This is the late 50s now. But I retired from my family life. So he's left his family. The tea or me thing has happened. He's, living practically like a homeless person. And I was sitting alone in Vrindavan, writing books. Easy Journey, Isopanishad. He was serializing them in his Indian BTG. So this, my godbrother, he insisted me. Because he was, at this point, he was actually trying to take sannyas. So when he approached Keshav Maharaj, and he was known as Bhaktivedanta Prabhu, because Bhakti Saranga and Sridhar Maharaj had given them that title in the 40, and he humbly accepted it. Bhaktivedanta Prabhu, this title was given in my family life. It was offered to me by the Vaishnava Society, well, those two godbrothers. So he insisted me. Into this. Practically, my spiritual master insisted me through him, because Bhaktisiddhanta, since the 40s, was telling him in dreams, to take sannyas. Insisted me through him that you accept. And then Prabhupada says, and you might wonder why Prabhupada is saying this, but he's just giving credit to Keshav Maharaj for helping him. Because without accepting the renounced daughter of life, nobody can become a preacher. Well, of course, Prabhupada says the opposite in other places, but he's in this context. He's just gotten word that his guru, sannyas guru has passed away, so he's glorifying his sannyas guru. So he wanted me to become a preacher, both Bhaktisiddhanta and Keshav Maharaj. So he forced me through this godbrother, you accept. So unwillingly I accepted. And then I remembered that he wanted me to go to the Western country. So I am feeling now very much obliged to this godbrother that he carried out the wish of my spiritual master and enforced me to accept his sannyas order. So now Prabhupada, he reveals why he's talking about his sannyas guru. So this godbrother, His Holiness Keshav Maharaj, Bhakti Pujyan Keshav Maharaj, is no more. He's passed away. He has entered Krishna's abode. So I wish to pass a resolution of bereavement and send it. He wants to send his condolences, written condolences, to the Keshavji Gaudiya Math. And he's talking to a handful of disciples in Seattle in 1968. Who knows if any are even there is one initiated. I know for sure Govinda Dasi's there, because it'll come up. But anyway, he has entered Krishna's abode. So I wish to pass a resolution of bereavement and send them. So, and I have composed one verse in this connection in Sanskrit. So you all present, you sign this. So he's writing it's like a condolence letter, and he wants them all to sign this. You sign this. I shall send it tomorrow. The verse, I have composed it. It is in Sanskrit, and it's actually right from CC. And it's a famous verse that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya sang to Lord Chaitanya. Vairagya vidya nija bhakti yoga shiksharta meka purusha puranaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sharira Dhari Kripam Buddhir Yastamaham Prapadye. Which means, quote, let me take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, who has descended in the form of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to teach us real knowledge, his devotional service, and detachment from whatever does not foster Krishna consciousness. So there's the Vairagya. That's the connection, the Keshav Maharaj. He has descended because he is an ocean of mercy. Let me surrender unto his lotus feet. Yeah. And then Prabhupada continues. This Krishna consciousness is Vairagya Vidya. Vairagya Vidya means to become detestful to this material world. That is called Vairagya Vidya. And that is possible simply by this Bhakti Yoga. Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yogam. Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yogam Apayayam. And then Prabhupada gives a little analogy here. So this, just like medicine, the child is afraid of taking medicine. That also I have experienced. In my childhood, when I became ill, I was very stubborn. I won't accept any medicine. So my mother used to force medicine within my mouth with a spoon. I was so obstinate. So anyway, similarly, I did not want to accept this sannyas order. So he's comparing his reluctance to accept sannyas to like a kid refusing to take the medicine from his mother. Similarly, I did not want to accept this sannyas order, but this godbrother forced me. You must. Apayayan mam. There's a tie-in with a verse. Apayayan mam means he forcefully made me to drink this medicine. Anabipsu andam. Why was I unwilling? Anabipsu means unwilling. Andam. Andam means one who is blind, who cannot see his future. The spiritual life is the brightest future, but the materialists cannot see it. You see? But the Vaishnavas, the spiritual master, they forcefully, you drink this medicine, you see. Apayayan mam anabipsu andam. Sri Krishna. Oh, this is what he's written now. This he has composed now. A glorification. Sri Keshava Bhakti Pragyanama. So this is what he's, part of what he's sending to condolences. So this is my godbrother. So this, my godbrother, his name is Keshava. Bhakti Pragyan Keshava. Kripambuli, he's an ocean of mercy. So he did this favor upon me because he was ocean of mercy. So we offer our obeisances to Vaishnava. Kripambudhi. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa siddhubhyahi. The Vaishnavas, the representatives of the Lord, they are so kind. They bring the ocean of mercy for distributing to the suffering humanity. Kripambudhir yastamaham prapadye. Yes. So I am offering my respectful obeisances unto this, His Holiness, because he forcefully made me adopt this sannyas order. So he is no more in this world. He has entered Krishna's abode. So I am offering my respectful obeisances along with my disciples. On the first day of my sannyas, I never thought. So that day, you see there's a picture of him taking sannyas. He's on our right, and one Muni Maharaj is on the left. Muni Maharaj, he took sannyas just before he died. He was taking sannyas to leave the world. Bhakti Prabhupada was taking sannyas to enter into the world, to go around the world 14 times in 12 years. On the first day of sannyas, I never thought, but I remembered that I'll have to speak in English. So I remember on that sannyas day when there was a reception. So I, first of all, spoke in English. This was in Mathura. Keshavji, he spoke in English because that's what his Guru Maharaj had told him to do in 1936, that final letter. So it is all arrangement of Krishna, higher authority. So we are writing like this. So here's what the actual bereavement says. Prabhupada reads it out to the devotees. Quote, His Divine Grace, excuse me. Quote, resolve that we, the undersigned members and devotees of International Society for Krishna Consciousness, in a condolence meeting under the presidency of His Divine Grace, Prabhupada's calling himself the president. This is before the founder Acharya title was officially put in writing in 1970. Under the presidency of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, today, the 21st of October, 1968, at our Seattle branch, express our profound bereavement on hearing the passing of His Grace, Om Vishnupad, Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, the Sannyas Guru, preceptor of our spiritual master. And on October 6th, so that's when he actually passed, and then he's got the news on the 21st, 1968, at his headquarter residence in Navadvip, West Bengal. So he actually passed in, oh, that might have been, yeah, it was. No, yeah, okay, he did pass in Navadvip, West Bengal. We offer our respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Sri Srimad BP, Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, with the following verse composed on this occasion by our spiritual master. So this is like he's right. This is from the devotees. This is from the disciples. Prabhupada wrote it for us, and because he said, so our spiritual master has composed this, unquote. And then Prabhupada says to the devotees, this verse I have already explained to you, so I wish that you all sign this, and I'll send it tomorrow by airmail. Have you got pencil? Govinda Dasi, yes. And then what you hear everybody going up, and it's right by the mic, so you hear everybody signing their name. And then you hear Prabhupada, because Prabhupada's signature is long and it's continuous, there's no break. If you notice the signature, there's A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, it just flows. And then finally Prabhupada signs, sound of Prabhupada signing. And then Govinda says, do you want them to sign in their spirit? And then in Prabhupada, one side spirit, one side their other name. So he has them sign their initiated name and their birth name. And then you hear devotees chanting japa, and then the tape ends. So this is the thread that I saw through this whole thing, with Vidura and Maitreya and Shukadev and Parikshit and Prabhupada and his sannyas guru, is gratitude. That's the gratitude, which is such an essential, and which really is an essential ingredient to become humble. We have to become grateful, in that purport, Prabhupada's quoting Prahlad Maharaj, who also said, how could I leave his service? My guru, I was following the way of the general populace. I mean, he heard Narada Muni in the womb. That's how he advanced he was. But he's so grateful to Narada Muni that he's depicting himself as an ordinary person. How could I leave his service? Yeah. So this is the key. Gratitude. Yeah. Okay, how are we doing? 8:50? Yeah? Anybody have any? Didn't want to give, but I thought, well, come on. You got to give class. Be grateful. Be grateful that you can give class. And you can still. Yeah, what did Parameshwar say to me? You're running 80 now? You're in good shape. Well, yeah, hey. So I got to be grateful that I can still give class. Some people, they can't dance or give class or anything. So, all right, any questions or comments about the verse? Should I read it again? Where is it? What did I do with it? Oh, put it. Oh, you took it. Okay. Too late. Yeah, so tomorrow we'll start a brand new canto. And I won't be here for that class. I'll be on the way out. But Krishna willing, I'll return several weeks later. Okay. You done? All right. Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Jai Jai.